Welcome back, fellow preppers. Today's topic is one that's absolutely critical for anyone serious about being prepared for whatever the future might hold. Whether you're a seasoned survivalist or just getting started, the importance of properly storing your food supply cannot be overstated. In fact, a single mistake in this area can render your entire stockpile useless when you need it most. So, grab a seat, because we're about to dive deep into the world of food storage, and I'm going to show you exactly what not to do. Trust me, you do not want to make this fatal error. Let's start with the basics. Why is food storage so crucial for survivalists? In any emergency situation, whether it's a natural disaster, economic collapse, or a more prolonged societal breakdown, your ability to sustain yourself and your loved ones comes down to what you have on hand. That's why food storage isn't just a nice to have, it's a necessity. It's the backbone of your prepping strategy. But here's the kicker. Not all food storage methods are created equal. If you don't store your food correctly, you're putting your entire survival plan at risk. Improper storage can lead to spoilage, contamination, and even loss of nutritional value. Think about it. If your food supply is compromised, it doesn't matter how well prepared you are in other areas. Without food, you'll struggle to maintain your energy, your health, and your mental clarity. That's why it's so important to understand not just how to store food, but how to do it the right way. So, what is this common but catastrophic mistake that even experienced preppers sometimes make? Let's get into it. The common mistake: overlooking proper sealing. The fatal error we're talking about today is something that seems so simple, yet it's one of the most overlooked aspects of food storage: proper sealing. You might think that simply putting your food in containers or bags is enough, but let me tell you, it's not. If your food isn't sealed properly, you're inviting all sorts of problems: pests, moisture, oxygen, and even bacteria. Any of these can lead to the premature spoiling of your supplies. One of the most common mistakes is relying solely on standard plastic bags or containers. While these might be fine for short-term storage, they're not designed to keep food fresh for the long haul. Over time, these materials can degrade, allowing air and moisture to seep in. This is especially true if you're storing food in an area that experiences fluctuations in temperature or humidity. Another issue is not using oxygen absorbers or silica gel packs. These little packets might seem insignificant, but they play a crucial role in extending the shelf life of your food. Oxygen is one of the main culprits behind food spoilage. When you remove the oxygen from your storage containers, you significantly reduce the risk of bacterial growth and oxidation, which can spoil your food. The same goes for moisture. Silica gel packs help absorb any excess moisture that could lead to mold or other contaminants. To ensure your food storage is top-notch and your supplies stay fresh and safe, check out the recommended products in the links below. From Mylar bags and vacuum sealers to airtight containers and oxygen absorbers, these tools are essential for maintaining a secure and reliable food storage system. Click the links in the comments to find the best options on Amazon and get your prep game to the next level. Stay prepared, stay safe. The right way to seal your food supply. So, how do you ensure your food is properly sealed and protected? First, you need to invest in high-quality storage containers. Mylar bags, for example, are an excellent choice. They're durable, resistant to air and moisture, and when combined with oxygen absorbers, they provide a nearly airtight seal. For added protection, you can place these Mylar bags inside food-grade buckets with tight-fitting lids. This double layer of protection is especially important if you're storing your food in a basement or garage where pests or moisture could be an issue. Vacuum sealing is another great option, particularly for foods like grains, beans, and dried fruits. Vacuum sealers remove the air from the packaging, which helps to preserve the freshness and prevent spoilage. Just remember to add an oxygen absorber before sealing for maximum longevity. For dry goods like flour, sugar, and rice, consider using glass jars with airtight lids. Glass is impermeable and won't interact with the food inside, which makes it ideal for long-term storage. Again, don't forget to add those oxygen absorbers. And here's a pro tip: label everything. It's easy to lose track of what you've stored and when, especially if you're rotating your supplies regularly. Write the date and contents on each container so you always know what you have and when it was packed. This will help you manage your stockpile more effectively and ensure nothing goes to waste. Temperature and environmental considerations. Even if your food is sealed properly, it's not completely safe unless you store it in the right environment. Temperature, light, and humidity all play a big role in the shelf life of your supplies. Ideally, you want to store your food in a cool, dark, and dry place. The goal is to minimize exposure to anything that could accelerate the degradation process. Temperature is a critical factor. Fluctuations can cause condensation inside your containers, leading to moisture buildup and, eventually, mold or spoilage. Aim to keep your storage area at a consistent temperature, ideally between 50 degrees Fahrenheit and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you live in a warmer climate, you might need to take extra precautions, such as using insulated storage containers or keeping your food in an air-conditioned space. Light is another enemy of long-term food storage. Exposure to sunlight can cause food to deteriorate faster by breaking down the nutrients and causing color changes. That's why it's best to store your food in opaque containers or in a dark room. Humidity is a silent killer when it comes to food storage. Even a small amount of moisture can lead to mold growth or make dry goods like grains and flour clump together. Using a dehumidifier in your storage area can help keep humidity levels in check, especially if you're storing food in a basement or other damp area. Rotation and monitoring your supply. Now, let's talk about something that's just as important as proper sealing and storage conditions: rotation. You've probably heard the saying, first in, first out, and it couldn't be more applicable here. Regularly rotating your food supply ensures that nothing sits on the shelf for too long, reducing the risk of spoilage. Create a system where you're constantly using the oldest items in your stockpile first and replacing them with fresh supplies. This not only helps prevent waste, but also ensures that your food is always as fresh as possible. Keep an inventory and update it every time you add or remove something from your stockpile. This might seem tedious, but it's a small effort compared to the peace of mind it provides. It's also a good idea to periodically check your stored food for any signs of spoilage or contamination. Look for things like unusual odors, discoloration, or changes in texture. If you notice anything off, it's better to be safe and discard the item than to risk consuming something that could make you sick. Food types and their specific storage needs. Different types of food have different storage needs, so it's important to understand how to best store each category. Let's break down a few common food types and the best practices for storing them long-term. Grains and legumes. These are staples in any prepper's pantry because they're calorie-dense and have a long shelf life. To store grains and legumes, use Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and place them in a food-grade bucket. Make sure the bucket has a secure lid to keep out pests and moisture. With proper storage, these can last up to 30 years. Canned goods. Canned foods are convenient and have a long shelf life, but they're not immune to spoilage. Store canned goods in a cool, dark place and always check the expiration dates. Be mindful of any cans that are bulging, rusting, or leaking. These are signs that the food inside may no longer be safe to eat. Dried fruits and vegetables. These are great for adding variety to your diet, but they require special care. Vacuum sealing with an oxygen absorber is the best way to store dried fruits and vegetables. Keep them in a cool, dark place, and they can last for years. Meats. If you're storing meats, consider freeze-drying or dehydrating them. Freeze-dried meats have the longest shelf life and retain most of their nutritional value. Store them in vacuum-sealed bags with oxygen absorbers, and they'll last for up to 25 years. Sugars and salts. These items are hygroscopic, meaning they absorb moisture from the air. Store them in airtight containers with silica gel packs to keep them dry. As long as they're kept dry, sugars and salts can last indefinitely. The role of packaging in long-term storage. Packaging plays a critical role in the longevity of your food supply. It's not just about the material of the container, it's also about how the food is packed. For example, if you're storing food in vacuum-sealed bags, make sure there's no air trapped inside before sealing. Any air left in the package can lead to oxidation, which will shorten the shelf life of your food. When using Mylar bags, press out as much air as possible before sealing, and always include an oxygen absorber. The same goes for canning. Make sure your jars are sealed properly and that there are no air bubbles trapped inside the jar. Air is the enemy when it comes to long-term storage, so every step you take to eliminate it will help preserve your food supply. Another key factor is the thickness of the packaging material. Thicker Mylar bags and containers are more durable and provide better protection against light, moisture, and pests. Investing in high-quality packaging might seem like an extra expense, but it's a small price to pay for the security of knowing your food will be safe and edible when you need it most. Don't forget to consider the size of your packaging. It's tempting to store large quantities of food in big containers, but this can backfire if you need to access a portion of your supply. Every time you open a large container, you're exposing the food inside to air and moisture, which can lead to spoilage. Instead, opt for smaller, portion-sized packages that you can open as needed without compromising the rest of your stockpile. This also makes it easier to rotate your supplies, ensuring that nothing gets overlooked or left on the shelf for too long. The dangers of not properly storing food. Now that we've covered the basics of proper food storage, let's talk about the consequences of getting it wrong. The dangers of not properly storing your food go far beyond just losing a few items to spoilage. In a survival situation, your food supply is your lifeline. If that supply is compromised, you're not just facing inconvenience, you're facing a real threat to your survival. One of the biggest risks is foodborne illness. Improperly stored food can harbor bacteria, mold, and other pathogens that can make you seriously ill. In a crisis situation, where medical care might not be readily available, this could be fatal. For example, botulism is a rare but deadly illness caused by improperly canned or preserved foods. The bacteria that cause botulism thrive in low-oxygen environments, so if your canning process isn't airtight, you're putting yourself at risk. Pests are another major concern. Rodents, insects, and other pests are drawn to improperly stored food. Not only can they contaminate your supplies with droppings, urine, and pathogens, but they can also destroy your packaging and leave you with nothing. Once pests get into your food supply, it can be incredibly difficult to get rid of them, especially if you're in a long-term survival scenario where resources are limited. Moisture is also a silent killer of food supplies. Even a small amount of moisture can lead to mold growth, which can quickly spread and ruin entire batches of food. Moldy food is not only unappetizing, it's dangerous. Consuming mold can cause allergic reactions, respiratory problems, and in some cases, produce toxic compounds known as mycotoxins, which can lead to serious health issues. Another often overlooked danger is the loss of nutritional value. Food that's not stored properly can lose its vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients over time. This is especially true for foods exposed to light, air, or heat. In a survival situation, you need every bit of nutrition you can get, so it's crucial that your food retains its value over the long term. Once you've established your food storage system, maintaining it is crucial. This isn't a set-it-and-forget-it situation. You need to stay vigilant and regularly check on your supplies. Start by setting up a regular schedule for inspecting your food storage area. Look for signs of pests, moisture, or any other potential issues. If you find anything suspicious, address it immediately to prevent further damage. Part of maintaining your system also involves keeping up with the latest best practices in food storage. This field is constantly evolving, with new products and techniques coming out all the time. Stay informed by reading survivalist forums, watching videos, and learning from others in the prepping community. You might discover a new sealing method, a better packaging material, or a more efficient way to organize your supplies. Don't forget to regularly rotate your stockpile, as we discussed earlier. This is a critical step in maintaining the freshness and usability of your food. Keep track of expiration dates and make it a habit to use and replace older items. This way, your food storage system remains dynamic and you're never caught off guard by spoiled or expired food. Finally, make sure you're training your family or group members on proper food storage techniques. Everyone involved in your survival plan should know how to seal, store, and rotate food. This not only lightens the load for you, but also ensures that everyone is capable of maintaining the system if you're not around. In conclusion, the fatal mistake of not properly sealing and storing your food can be avoided with a little knowledge and preparation. Remember, your food supply is your lifeline in a crisis, and taking the time to store it correctly is an investment in your future survival. Whether you're dealing with a short-term emergency or preparing for a long-term disruption, having a reliable, well-maintained food storage system will give you the peace of mind you need to face whatever comes your way. So, don't take shortcuts. Use high-quality materials, seal your food properly, and store it in the right conditions. Rotate your supplies regularly, and stay informed about the best practices in food storage. By doing this, you'll ensure that when the time comes, you'll have the food you need to keep yourself and your loved ones safe and healthy. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay prepared, stay vigilant, and keep your preps tight. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And remember, it's better to be prepared and not need it than to need it and not be prepared. See you next time.